Yeah, baby. Boom, boom, boom. The Jets are adding Tyron Smith, the Dallas Cowboys all-pro offensive lineman. I told you, bastards. I told you what's happening. Number one target for Boy Green. When the legal tampering opened, that was the number one name old Papa wanted, and we secured the bag, baby. Boom! Let's go. Let's roll the footage. We've got a call-in link that is the pinned comment on YouTube if you'd like to react to this. The New York Jets, Tyron Smith, it's happening. Let's go! Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Let's freaking go, baby! Boom! I just lost my freaking bananas. This was the number one target. You can go back to the videos, check the receipts, Salah. I've been saying it for freaking months. I've been saying it for weeks. The number one friggin' target was none other than Tyron freaking Smith, the Dallas Cowboys left tackle. And in case you missed it, let's present it on the big board here. Here you go. Ian Rappaport. Booyah! The Jets are expected to sign former Cowboys All-Pro and Pro Bowl left tackle Tyron Smith, a new blindside protector for Aaron Rodgers. Massive news, breaking news, just coming in. We're doing a live reaction to this. This tweet came in 10 minutes ago, and we're live here on the channel. Guys, I can't say this freaking enough. This is massive for the Jets. The offensive line, booyah. Let's go through the offensive line for the New York Jets with this brand new move. Left tackle, Tyron Smith, the blindside protector. Left guard, John Simpson, Baltimore Ravens. Center, Joe Tippmann. Right guard, Elijah Vera-Tucker, back where he belongs. Right tackle, Morgan Moses. Boo freaking yeah. That is your new offensive line. And what a superstar offensive line. This unit has a chance to be above average. Tyron Smith is among the best left tackles in all football. He was the number one pass protector. I don't have to look up these stats. They're all in the brain because this is a guy I wanted the Jets to get. Let's freaking go. He was a second-team All-Pro last season. He was the number one pass protector of any New York Jets, of any offensive lineman in the NFL. And booyah, plug-and-play left tackle, freaking spectacular. Guys, the pinned comment on YouTube is a link for you guys to join. This is a show by the people, for the people. Feel free to call into the show. I see we already have a few people in the green room. I'll get to you guys in a second. YouTube super chats are welcome. Keep them freaking coming, baby. We are live reacting to the absolute bombshell. And there it is. Frankie told you he's a mastermind. Excellent. This is the move. The Jets had a massive hole at left tackle, and they fill it with the best possible guy in the market. And I can't wait to see the money. We'll live react to it because I literally just on my phone and just started spazzing. I said, I need to get on immediately. And here we are. Tyron gosh darn Smith, baby. Blindside protector extraordinaire. Oh, I'm so friggin' fired up. This is amazing. We'll react to the money live. I have no idea what the money is, but we're just here. Good Lord. Okay, let's go to the green room. One of my good buddies, there he is. NY Jets FL joins us live here on the show. What's up, brother?
Hey, Paul. Very quick reactions for you to get online. Kudos to you. A couple things real quick. First of all, does your dad approve? Because he's the pseudo GM of the Jets / Cowboys first, and then the Jets second. So I got to get your dad's take. Yes, sir.
We'll find it out tomorrow morning. My dad was supposed to join us on Sunday because of his move. And it's funny. We had a phone call conversation like 2 hours ago. And my dad goes, what do you want to talk about on the show? I'm like, I got a couple of topics I'm kind of interested in. But I said, I don't want to lock anything in yet because there could be breaking news. And he goes, well,
Wow.
okay. And I'm like, yeah, so leave it open. And it happened. So yes, my dad, a diehard Cowboys fan, will get his reaction. And I will tell you this from his Cowboys fan perspective. And like I said, because of his Cowboys fandom, I've seen like every Cowboys game for like a million years. They are the team that I've seen a lot whenever the Jets, of course, aren't playing. And he thinks really highly of him. We'll get his reaction live tomorrow morning on the show, or maybe if he calls in live tonight. But this is a guy who will go into the Hall of Fame, but it's not just a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's not what's happening here at the Jets. This guy last season was among the best offensive tackles in all football. He was a second-team All-Pro. So, yeah, I can't wait to hear what he says, but I'm giddy, man. This is phenomenal.
Hey, Paul, I had a strange thought as soon as this happened. I was thinking number 10 now, we could actually draft a pass rusher. the fan base would go ape if we drafted a pass rusher. But we can draft anybody, Paul. Paul, we can trade. We can draft a tackle. We can draft Brock Bowers. We can draft the third best receiver if he falls. We can even draft a pass rusher if we really want to go. If you want the fan base to go nuclear. But
the options are wide open. They are so wide open with this move. And that's what was so it's important, of course, to protect the blind side of Aaron Rodgers. We saw what happened last year with Dwayne Brown and that cut block attempt, and then how it all happened. Like, that was disgusting. So I think we all know how important that is from the surface. But being able to fill the holes, which the Jets have outside of receiver, they haven't gotten that wide receiver 2 yet. We'll see. Sauce Gardner indicated on social media that someone's visiting next week, which would have to be a free agent, so someone like Boyd or OBJ or someone like that. But even putting that aside for a second, solving the offensive line ahead of the draft, which is what they did. They have a starter accounted for right now at every single position. They still need some depth, of course. So heading in, they've got that 5. To your point, they could do whatever the hell they want. One of those top 3 receiver drops, Brock Bowers drops. And to your point, we had a super chat about it, so we'll throw it. That's the same thing you said. Let me see if I could get this. Yeah, I think I talked about this with Woody, and Trevor Sikkema brought it up a couple weeks ago. The Jets could be tempted. Oh, this would obviously send them nuclear, but they could have, quote unquote, the number 1 overall pick in the defensive draft, because depending on the mock you read, defenders aren't going very frequently. It could be 8 Falcons with the Kirk Cousins thing. You don't know. Maybe they're a trade down team, but that's one that could go defense. But besides that, anyone could be defense. So that could be 1,000% on the table at 10. I'm sure that wouldn't excite fans, but that, yeah, see, we're getting Dallas Turner. You are a Jet. We're getting a lot of that. Look what you've done, NY Jets FL.
Well, let me say this, Paul. You just salary capped. If Joel has the balls to draft a pass rusher, you just saved, $16 million a year or $17 million on Bryce Hubb's contract, and you reset, that to a rookie contract, and then you have McDonald on a rookie contract. Ooh, that would take a lot of nerves. So, but he's in it for the long. I mean, this is the year to do it, and if we could. Look what the Eagles did, Paul, when they made their run. They had over 70 sacks in the season that year. So it doesn't hurt to add one. And if somebody wants to come up for a quarterback, then more power to them, and we can maybe get a second and slide down. And it's I'm a little cautious about the signing, but something we had to do, because if we're all in. Hey, Paul, real quick. I know you have other callers, but the Keenan Allen thing, did he have a list of teams that he only wanted to go to? That's what I heard.
I did hear that. So shout out to Connie, again, first female scout in history and one of our very own here. I had not heard that initially. And then Connie shared it. It was from an ESPN article. Courtney Cronin, who covers a variety of teams. I don't know if she's on one specifically. She must be on the Bears most recently, but she's been on a few teams. She reported that Keenan initially said he didn't want to be, this was end of the season. I don't want to be traded anywhere. I love being a Charger, blah, blah, blah. But he said, if I was to be traded, there's a very select amount of teams. He didn't reveal those teams. It didn't look like in the article to Courtney, but there was a select amount of teams that he would play for. That was part of it. The other thing I can't factor in, because I don't know, now this is my speculation, were they willing to trade him to the AFC? I would imagine a lot of people would be interested in Keenan, so they would have their choices and could send him to Siberia or wherever the hell they wanted to. So that's more speculation from me on why perhaps the Jets didn't do this. And then the other thing, we'll learn, I imagine, live during the show, how much did Tyron Smith sign for? I have no idea right now. So if someone sees it, super chat it to me and I'll read it out. But that's the other thing. This could be crazy money. But with it being so many deep days into free agency and the tackle market being pretty slow, I would imagine the money might surprise us. Like, it won't be crazy, but, maybe it will be. We'll have to see.
We needed him, and I have a feeling we didn't overpay, but I mean, obviously, I could be wrong. I'm just a fan, but it's a very interesting time to be a Jet fan, and the draft can't come soon enough. So it's going to be very fascinating. Now, the speculation of the 10th pick is just, I mean, it'd be amazing if somehow they picked a pass rusher. I mean, after all this, can you imagine? I mean, it would be us. It would just be the Jets, to do that.
It would be. And I see the contract numbers just come in. We'll say that in a second, but I do want to answer your other point because, again, you mentioned it's a move they had to make, but also the wariness of you. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of Jet fans, I imagine, that'll be calling in here on the show and coming on the comments. I see we have a few more. We'll get to you guys in just a second. But I would say that it's important for the Jets to get insurance. The scary insurance is David Bakhtiari. I don't even know if he comes here because of Tyron. Maybe he completely doesn't, but that's the scary part of the insurance because you get insurance on your insurance, which also needs insurance. While healthy, Tyron Smith is an All-Pro. Obviously, he was last year. Bakhtiari, healthy, is an All-Pro. They may go for a more high-floor guy who's not as sexy of a name. Maybe that's the play potentially at tackle behind Tyron because right now, I imagine the swing guy is Carter Warren at left and right. I don't know who the other name is. So that will be fascinating to me. But it's to your point. He has averaged about 13 games a season, Tyron Smith has, over the length of his career. So more times than not, he's been incredibly healthy in terms of like playing that amount of games in a long-form season. So they will need a plan B. It's a 17-game season. They're longer than they've ever been over the last 3 years or so. So they will need a reliable guy inevitably to come in to fill in some of those spots probably.
Hey, Paul, Tyron Smith has started a lot more games than a lot of our starters last year. So maybe it's an upgrade when you really think about it. Yeah. Because we had so many injuries. I mean, hey, what's Dr. DuVernay doing this time? We had that offensive lineman. Is that guy gone? Or, I mean, maybe we can get him. He was okay for a little bit of depth. Dr. Tuve.
It's I'm going to get it. It is Tardif Duvernay. Is his name. And we will see. I know we did a story a couple months ago that must have been retirement, I imagine, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So someone will have to send me probably the link to my own story to remember whatever that was about. But again, I think the thing, as we're saying with Corey Davis here, we'll see whatever happens with him. I think people will see what's happening here with the Jets go, you know what? I think I got one more run in me. And maybe that can gather and rally and kind of be a recruiting point of interest. So whether it's Tardif or anyone of that nature, people I think are going to want to jump on for the ring chasing, I think, pal.
Paul, I really don't want Corey Davis back. I'm sorry, but maybe I'm in the minority, but he drops a lot of balls and I don't know. I'd rather just draft somebody later or sign, OBJ or whoever you want to sign who's going to free up or in June or training camp, or it could happen, like a third or fourth rounder in the draft. Go with that or both.
We'll see. So Corey's still up there. We'll see if he's coming back again. The Jets released him, so he's free to sign with who he wants. So that'll be one to monitor. NY Jets FL. Love you, brother. Thanks for chiming in.
All right, Paul. Have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, everybody, the phone lines are open. I see our green room is filled, baby. We're getting to you people, baby. But before we do, I promised that the news as it came in, we would get to. So let me share the contract details that are coming in. First off, let's get the New York Jets just tweeting out this picture, baby. Robert Saleh hugging Joe Douglas. Aren't we all? Come here. Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers hug. Hoo-yah. Virtual hug, baby. I'm just so giddy, guys. This is the move I wanted so badly. I begged for this. Jet fans said, Paul, there was Jet fans. I want to say this week. I don't even remember what your names are, but you know who you are. So cry about it. You told me, Paul, we should probably stop talking about Tyron Smith. That's not realistic. Screw you, buddy, whoever you were out there, you bastard. Anywho, let me share this as well here. Here is the tweet from Adam Schefter. Thank you, everyone who tweeted it as well. It is a one-year deal that has incentives that could be worth up to $20 million. That's a monster number, but the Jets are all in. I'm curious to see the layers of this. When you say worth up to maximum, that's like, I'm assuming no injuries or things of that nature. So maybe the base is far lower. It would have to be. Let's see what the numbers look like. But still, I don't give a flying hoot what the numbers are. This is all in, baby. You have to do what you have to do. And now the Jets' offensive starting line is set heading into the NFL draft, and still more moves to make in free agency and the like. All right, let's go to the call-in line. Like I said, we got multiple people down here. People, be patient. We're going to get to all you bastards so we can rally. Words are coming out of my mouth. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I am just on cloud nine. I saw the thing. I'm like, I'm going live in 10 minutes. Beep, boop, bop, make some quick graphics. I was just ready to go, baby. I was just sitting here on the computer. Okay, about time. Anywho, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I might pass out. I need a drink. Anywho, all right, let's get to it. So again, the pinned comment on YouTube is a way to call into the show live. I want us to celebrate. I want us to react. I want us to get in on this baby and also keep the YouTube super chats going. Let's go to my brother. I just talked to this man a couple hours ago on Connor's channel. Johnny joining us here on the show with a different Jets hat. I love this one better because apparently it's lucky Tyron Smith is a New York Jet.
Bro, we were just talking about that, and this just changed everything even more. Like, we're not tied to that 10th pick. We're not tied to having to get an offensive lineman. I mean, we were talking about it. Is this a move that maybe we do go back and we say, you know what, we're all in. Let's go ahead and give up a first to bring in Devontae. What would it take? And then, but give us a second that we could still get another playmaker with that because we got that. Can we bring in Donovan Smith, right, at a very, very low
Ooh, I love that
tag?
move, Johnny. I love
Because
that move, man.
Dependable, just in case something was to happen. Big Jet fan growing up. He's from Hempstead, Long Island, right? There's just so much stuff. And then you have the wide receivers that are out there, like your Boyd right now. That's like, holy crap,
He's
we
coming.
really have a line right now. And Aaron freaking Rodgers is protected.
Yeah.
Dude, how was your dad swinging at the air? Was he like tackling stuff or
Let me see.
I'm like,
has he reached out to me yet? Let me see. I'm checking the phone live. Oh my god. Let me see. I'm goo goo gaga right now.
dude,
Let me see.
both. I was trying to take care of my kid.
Yeah.
I was like, you go to sleep now. I need to get on and see what people are saying.
Yeah,
So,
I do know.
Oh, dude, I showed my wife, right? And I was like, get ready, babe, because in the name of Boy Green, we are having some sweet, passionate love tonight.
Let's make some little Johnnies. That's what I'm saying, baby.
No, she's already pregnant. She can't make another one right now.
Is that how it works? Can we make twins? I'm not sure the science of that, but like, let's get back in there.
I will try.
Yes. Thank you.
Dude,
I appreciate that.
Just...
No message from my father so far. Again, he joined us on the show tomorrow morning live at 7:30. For those who don't know or have not seen the show, first off, like the video, hit subscribe, everybody. Super chats, memberships, keep it all going. We're getting freaky tonight, baby. This live stream may never end. I may be still on here tomorrow morning at this time.
Hey, when you have your pops on, if you could put on the call, man, we would love to. I would love. Your dad's cool, man. I appreciate that because I'm real close with my pops. So seeing you on there with your dad, it's just like me and him having our conversation. Because my dad swear he knows football and stuff like that, and some of the stuff he says, I'm like, it's okay, Dad. It's cool. You know.
I would just say it's the coolest thing in the world. A lot of people, and I just told this to my dad actually after one of the shows, that a lot of people do all kinds of work, and you know what? Whatever work you do is whatever work you have to put the money and food on your table for your family. But I have an awesome. I'm so humbled to have a chance to be able to do a show with my dad. Some people are construction workers, right? They don't get to see their dad. They live all over the place. They don't get to have that constant connection on a week-to-week basis. And I know some people hate my dad. Like I see it in the comments all the time. But I'm willing to take whatever hate that is forever to get this opportunity because, you have to savor every day. You never know. So it's so cool. And he has not messaged me yet. I'm not surprised. He's probably pissed because he loved Tyron Smith. I'm pretty sure he had a Tyron Smith Cowboys jersey. And we'll get his perspective tomorrow morning because I think while we're excited, I see a ton of excitement in the chat. I know there was a lot of people that gave me a lot of crap for saying that Tyron Smith is washed over the hill, another Dwayne Brown and things. I had that on the Jake Esmond show the other day. And again, so there's still those people in the Jets universe that are just not going to be happy with a move like this. And you know what? I have nothing to say, but screw you guys. From the bottom of the beard up. Suck
Dude,
it, baby.
If that bald-headed man was here, I would kiss his head, the top of his head right now, dude, because he's doing stuff. Like I said again, everybody was just crucifying the dude. They're just like, oh, he's not doing crap. Meanwhile, he's just a mad scientist in the lab cooking up some stuff. Dude, our line is left tackle Smith, left guard Simmons, right?
Yep. Simpson, yep.
Joe Tippmann center.
Yep.
AVT right guard. And Morgan, he's gonna pardon the way Moses, dude. It's just crazy.
Come on, Johnny, be honest with me here. Be honest with me here. Okay, because I know what I'm about to say. This offensive line that's currently in front of us, the best offensive line, like this is the best offensive line combination I could have dreamed of. And people may say I'm being hyperbolic. To have Tyron Smith, a future Hall of Famer, and again, the number one pass protector this past season. John Simpson, if he's your worst offensive lineman, which would appear on paper, fine by me. You could do worse. Tippmann is only going to get better in his second year. AVT is back at guard where he had his success backdating to that first rookie year. We're all like, wait a second, this kid could be special. And Morgan Moses is rock solid, and he started in at least 14 games in 9 straight years, almost a decade. We're rock solid there. We need some depth, but you know what? Depth is a first world problem because we have the line intact on March 15th. And let's give a shout out to this because I started with positivity on the morning show today. A year ago today, we found out that Aaron Rodgers was continuing his NFL career and that he intended to play for the New York Jets. And a year later, the Jets have built an offensive line he could be proud of that could keep him upright and unlock his potential. A pissed off Rodgers with this line, the Jets can win the division. They can go to the playoffs. They can do it all. And we still haven't even touched the draft yet, which is going to improve this team. I'm fired up, baby.
Brees Hall. Can you imagine?
Come on, man.
I was thinking right now, imagine if what we do if we start putting the 2 tight ends on there, right? On side to side. I mean, there's just so many different things that we could do right now. It's just, I'm mind blown, bro. Like, I'm so
I am too.
Like, we're going into the draft with our mindset. Our quarterback is there. We have our running back. We got our number 1 wide receiver. Our defense is stacked, right? Yeah. What is it that we need now? Maybe go look for a number 2, right?
Yes, for sure. We need another pass rusher. Clowney's visiting next week. I'd love that. That would be really interesting to me. I think interior defense line is pretty done. Solomon Thomas is back, so he's in the group. You got Sally, you got Kinlaw, you got Likey. So your interior defense line is pretty good. You need another safety. So now we're again. I'm like, I just bought this new car. I could use funky dice. I could use that in the mirror. Like, that's what we're talking about here outside of wide receiver. That's serious. We need, obviously, someone to draw attention away from Garrett Wilson, of course. So that's a serious one. But you have the 10th overall pick. Plus, as some of us have hinted, Devontae and all these crazy potential ideas, there's a lot of possibilities for the Jets. But I'm fired up, man. This is the best offensive line they could have put out.
Just Aaron Rodgers on how good he is, keeping him upright. We could have Gibson there, and we're gonna have him looking like a top 5 wide receiver in the league with freaking Garrett Wilson being number 1. It's just, that's what I mean. Like, just the stuff that's out, dude. I'm like hyped. I don't know what else to do, but just maybe go take a cold shower to calm myself down. I don't know, dude. It's just that whole scenario of us maybe trading back now with Jacksonville. And what you were saying with the value that comes with that pick to get us a second, right? It's there on the table for us now. Or we say, screw it. And you know what? Let's surprise everybody. And if Bowers falls, imagine if freaking Neighbors falls.
And it's possible. It is so possible. It's Daniel Jeremiah tweeted out this morning that 4 quarterbacks from his intel are going in the top 6. 4 quarterbacks going in the top 6. The Jets pick at 10. If 4 go in and you pick at 9, 5 players have to go. 3 of those are the receivers we talked about. 2 are the offensive tackles. But what if a defender goes like at 8 to Atlanta? All of a sudden, you do the math. Someone's falling to 10, and then let's get freaky. Because I saw a couple of mock drafts today. Connor and Trevor had one. Field Yates had one. And Rome Odunze kept getting to 9. And the Bears already have DJ Moore and Keenan. All that dude needs to do is fall one more spot to get this dynamic receiver. So it's possible, Johnny. It's possible.
And I know you got other people. It's my last thought, Boy Green.
Sure.
What if Joe Douglas says, you know what, I'm really all in, and he says, let's trade up and let's go ahead and get Marvin Harrison Jr.
That would be a dream of dreams. It would be. His father was here in Syracuse, so I'm a Syracuse guy. I've been living here the last 16 years. It would be, I think, Marvin Harrison Jr. I haven't said it a lot because it hasn't been within the Jets' range, so it's just kind of wasted breath for a large part of it. He, to me, is the safest player in the draft. He's going to be a stud immediately. He's a stud forever. He checks off all the boxes. If you want to get froggy, let's get froggy. I think that would be phenomenal, Johnny. Phenomenal.
I'll see you at 7:30 in the morning.
Can't wait, brother.
We got the guy.
We got the guy. I love that. There he is. Johnny joining us here on the line. All right, let's go to the next one here. Phenom patiently waiting. Thank you very much, pal. Let's bring him in with the smooth jersey too. Phenom. We got Tyron Smith, baby.
Unbelievable. I was on early with Jake Asman. I was telling everybody to chill. And it's, he's one of the top guys. Now, I gotta say that I have some concerns about his age. I would really want to still draft a tackle. I mean, I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking you'll get the skill position, but Tyron Smith is a short-term answer. It's not a long-term answer. So if we make this now our strength now, this year, next year, into the future, now we have a solid left tackle. If we get how about if we get a chance to get an alt now, or someone like that, Fuaga. There's guys in this draft, so we have options now. That's a good thing. We have options.
Yes.
And how crazy is it? Isn't this the anniversary of Rodgers being announced? It is. Isn't that freaky? Is that freaky or what?
Yeah, and I believe in things happening. I don't believe in random occurrences. No, I believe in destiny and things. And I got to tell you, I think that means something. And I love what you said. I love what you said because I think it's true. Tyron is 33 years of age. And to get him and just go, well, left tackle's done. 1,000%. Imagine that. Because we saw what happened last year. 13 different combinations started for the Jets. Right. So if you're in a position to get, let's say, Joe or Olufashano, one of the two who are considered the top left tackles in this class, if you get him and they're working with Tyron and Tyron goes down, you're fine because you have somebody else. And plus, to your point, Tyron has averaged 13 starts a year for his entire career. But over the last 2 of the last 4 years, he's missed significant time. So, you don't want to be one injury away from up. We're right back where we were last year. So to your point,
let's make the offensive line now our strength, just like our defensive line was our strength. Like I said, we hated to see Huff go, but there was a reason behind that. There was a plan in order. We didn't have to have the big splash on the first day. We waited, and patience is a virtue. And hopefully, Jet fans have been patient. Now maybe it's on time.
Extremely.
But I'm not believing the hype until I see it on the field because we believe we were eating the hype and then we saw what happened. So let's chill, relax, enjoy the moment. Cheers. Let's cheers.
Yes. Yeah, I need a drink. I don't have a drink. I ran to do this, but a virtual drink. I need to grab one immediately.
And always, man, thank you for your good content. You're a winner, man. You're a winner.
I love you, man. I love you. I love the jersey. I can't wait till the jerseys are revealed. They're coming here in a couple weeks, so the hype party will continue. Phenom, thanks for calling into the show, brother, man.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Phenom joining us here on the show. Again, the pinned comment on YouTube, everybody, is the way to click and call into this show. We have 2,000 people in the room, and keep them coming. They're on Instagram as well. I'll give a shout out to a bunch of the people I see on Instagram. Connor, I see him in here from New York Flight Talk, and I see we got a super chat as well. Okay, let's catch up, baby. I am fired up. We got Tyron Smith. We got him. All right, super chat coming in from Antonio. Could we be going after a wide receiver 1B, wide receiver 2A via trade with all the cap they've been freeing up? Diggs is looking lonely right now. Also, trade back, get Thomas Jr. and the teens, get O-line in second for depth. Okay, let's go through all these, Antonio. All right, so the Diggs thing, I'm assuming you're talking about Stephon. There's no way they trade him inside the division. So even with his continuingly cryptic and ominous tweets, I'd prefer other receivers if we're going to get, freaky and we're going to make some sweet, passionate love here. There's a couple other guys. T. Higgins jumps out to mind. Brandon Ayuk jumps out to mind. Devontae. Now, the differences in those three names that we talk about, T. Higgins is young, will want a contract immediately. Brandon Ayuk, young, will want a contract immediately. The good thing about Devontae, if you trade for him, while he's older, of course, but his contract is what it is. He's riding out the contract probably outside of something crazy. So that's the benefit of that. And I would imagine, I guess I don't really know who costs more or less. I guess it kind of depends on your perspective. Devontae is far more the most proven guy. Brandon Ayuk's probably the best long-term guy based on everything we've seen thus far. So I'm all for getting crazy and getting that dynamic wide receiver. You're all in. Tyron Smith is the most all-in move the Jets have made all offseason. He's 33. He's obviously far closer to the end of his career than the beginning. This is Joe Douglas going, let's get frisky. Again, in case you missed it, Tyron Smith signed a 1-year deal with incentives, could be worth up to $20 million. Waiting for further details because literally this hit my phone and I started just doing a weird dance in here alone by myself in my office here. And I just said, I'm going live right now. I just happened to be sitting in front of the computer doing some other Jets work. And I'm like, let's freaking go. So as news comes in, you guys can super chat it to me and get it to my attention when new news comes in on the Tyron Smith deal. I'm fascinated to see the rest of the contract, but I will say that I want to see it because I'm a Jets guy and I want to see actually how it is. But I will tell you, I'm fired up no matter what it is, baby, because this is an all-in move. All right, let's go to so the Diggs thing, I don't think so. Trade back Thomas Jr., that could be. So that could be the perfect marriage, Antonio, of what you said and what Johnny said. So you trade back and get that second-round pick. The Jets are missing one. And you get a Brian Thomas Jr. This guy was insane at the combine. And the only reason he didn't get more love was because, of course, Xavier Worthy out of Texas broke the 40-yard dash thing. And then Brian Thomas Jr. kind of fell under the radar because of that hype. But he's fantastic. The size, the speed, the LSU product, and he doesn't get the love because of neighbors as well. He would be phenomenal. And then to your point, offensive line depth. Maybe you could get that Patrick Paul or second-tier tackle coming up in the second round. And then you have that guy as a backup, quote-unquote, or your long-term answer behind Tyron. That would be spectacular. So I love that mindset. Again, the big names, if you're talking about wide receivers, are T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Adams. Those are the big three. Again, unless there's a surprise. Keenan Allen was a surprise. That was a name I was talking about, but overall it was a surprise that they actually moved him. So there could be something in that range as well. And also note this, Sas Gardner on Twitter said that he said a wide receiver is visiting next week, which would have to be a free agent. The two names I know to keep an eye out for are Tyler Boyd. It's Pittsburgh and Jets in on Tyler Boyd right now, and also Odell Beckham Jr. I know that's a polarizing name, but I'm telling you guys, you should jump on the train. And Antonio, thank you for your service, brother. Thanks for the super chat. This helps keep the show alive and going. And this is exciting when we could do a live show like this, literally minutes after. I think I was the first live show out of all the YouTube channels to get on here. So that's pretty cool. That doesn't normally happen for me, but I'm glad I was lucky this time. Again, the pinned comment on YouTube is where you guys can jump on the show and give your live reactions. Let me see if there's anything else from Schefter here. I just want to double check to see anything from Schefter on this. Let me see. Did we get anything here? Yeah, so the Cowboys look like they're going to get a comp pick of the 5th round because of his 10 accrued season, so it's limited on that fashion. Let's see, some wide receiver news. The Panthers, according to Mike Kay, are hosting Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams for a free agency visit. They also acquired Brandon Ayuk. Let me go over to Rap Sheet here. So we have the 1 year, $20 million thing from Schefter. That's a maximum value. Trying to see if anyone else has the details on the Tyron deal. I do not see it right now. So if you guys see it, make sure you guys let us know. But again, let's go back to the offensive line. We got over 2,000 people in here. Guys, make sure you pound that freaking like button, baby. Hit subscribe. If you're on YouTube, like I said, we have 2,000 people in here right now. For all the people that are on YouTube, you could join the Boy Green Super Fan Club, baby. Show your support. This would be amazing. So here's the line right now in case you're just joining us. Left tackle Tyron Smith. Left guard John Simpson. Center Joe Tippmann. Right guard AVT. Right tackle Morgan Moses. This offensive line is good enough for division champs. This line is good enough for playoffs. This line is good enough for all of the above, baby. This is spec-freaking-tacular. Love it. So I'm in love with the move, and I want to reiterate. And there's Dark Soldier. Crew! Yes, sir. Love it, baby. What do I think about the Tyron Smith signing? Now, I know that some people come on shows and react and go crazy. Can you believe this? This is a move I've pounded the table for months and weeks. My dad is this diehard Cowboys fan. I've known how good Tyron Smith is. It's not like he's some sneaky name that people don't know. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say, I knew Tyron Smith and no one else did. That's not what I'm saying at all. He was a second-team All-Pro last year. He is a superstar. His career will send him to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His past season still has him among the best tackles in football, and I can't say this enough. He is not Dwayne Brown. So for anyone that has that narrative, I want to destroy it right now. He is not Dwayne Brown. He is 5 years younger than Dwayne Brown. He's better than Dwayne Brown ever was, and not to try to insult Dwayne Brown, but just to address it with that issue. He is a spectacular tackle. And day one, left tackle, plug and play, and the Aaron Rodgers recruiting. I also told you guys this. Here's another nugget. Last year, we talked about a 1 year anniversary. A year ago today, Aaron Rodgers announced on the Pat McAfee show that he intended to continue his NFL career and that he intended to play for the New York Jets. Remember this as well. While he intended to play for the Jets a year ago, that trade did not become official until the NFL draft week, which is in the 25th, 26th action. That was it. That didn't become official till then, which complicated the recruiting. Neil Glassman, part of the Boy Green Superfan Club. Thank you for joining recently, Neil. We appreciate it. Josina Anderson spoke with Tyron, said he wanted to stay in Dallas, but feels Jets could win it all. Says it will be amazing to play with Rodgers. I'll have to let me put that in my notes right now. I will try to get Josina Anderson on the show. We've had her on in the past. That's a great get. I just put that in my notes. We'll try to get Josina on ASAP. That'd be wonderful. Let me see if we can pull that up. Neil, thanks for that shout out, baby. Love it. I see we're getting a few more callers in. I'll get to you guys in just a second. Let me double check Josina here. Let me double check Josina to see if there's anything else in her tweet. Okay, yeah. Wow. Okay, let's show this on the board. This is from Josina Anderson, everybody. Let's show this up on the big board. Thank you, Neil, for this. This is more on the Tyron Smith thing. Tyron Smith also told me that the deal to come to the Jets really ramped up tonight. Honestly, this has just been happening for the last couple hours, so I'm still trying to handle things right now. As for not returning to the Cowboys, I was told this figured to be the case once cap issues became clear in Dallas by a league source. Smith had it. It's kind of where the chips have fallen for this offseason, but Smith reiterated he's excited to be a Jet and protect A-Rod now. Let's see her initial tweet on the Tyron Smith thing. This is Tyron speaking to Josina Anderson, CBS NFL Insider. Quote, I would have loved to have stayed home in Dallas, but as we all know, it's a business the way it works. I still feel like the Jets have an opportunity to win it all, and anything I could do for the team to help them out, I'm going to do and do me best to do it. While Smith told me that he has not spoken with Aaron Rodgers yet, he said this about playing with the Jets QB1. I feel like this is going to be amazing. Of course, me being with Dallas, he's kicked our butts twice in the playoffs, so I know what he's capable of. Honestly, I'm just excited about this opportunity. I'm in goo-goo land, guys, right now. I'm going to be honest. I have to pinch myself. I cannot believe that Tyron Smith is a member of the New York Jets. This is spectacular. What a home run addition by Joe Douglas doing what's necessary. Oh, phenomenal. Wow, this is amazing. I love that. Love that. Love that. Tyron Smith, New York Jet, blindside protector. This is awesome. Okay. Slow down, Boy Green. Let's get a couple of comments in here. They have to stay healthy. Of course they do. But you know what? They've rearranged several pieces. Tyron's new, Simpson is new, and Morgan Moses are new. 3 of the 5 pieces are new. So you know what? I'm going to believe in health. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got this guy in here. Let's go. We got Nick T joining us here on the program. What's up, Nick?
Cheers. Happy Friday, my man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cheers to you, brother. Again, I need like a producer offset to give me a drink right now to pound because I'm ready to chug after what just occurred. Spectacular. Yeah, do it for me, Nick. I appreciate you, brother. Wow. Magnificent. Oh, man, I'm still stunned.
I was honestly not expecting him to leave Dallas, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mike Evans kind of thing, right? Like, because like people said, oh, maybe Mike Evans will leave, but like some of us are like, will he? Yeah, I got you.
Not necessarily like a Mike Evans thing, just because like I thought I would think Mike Evans would leave more so than him, just because it's the position, right? Like wide receiver versus like tackles and quarterbacks don't leave. If they're good, they don't leave.
Sure.
And I get the injury concerns, but this reminds me so much. And this is why at first I was like, 2015, he hasn't played a full season since 2015. Like it's rough, but like the Trent Williams deal that San Francisco made.
The trade, right, with Washington. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how many injury concerns? It was I want to say his ankle. That was a big issue, and
he also had the tumor, right? Because he had the brain tumor thing, which scared a lot of people too. They had like some sort of an abscess on his head that had to get checked out too. So there was a lot of concerns. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like no one, and again, there's always risk with what you're going to do with any free agent for the most part, because they leave for a reason. So, just that Trent Williams and how that panned out for San Francisco the last 5+ years, whatever it is.
Yeah. That's
why I kind of changed my tone on it, but I really wasn't expecting him to. What did the contract details get down to? I missed the.
Yeah. So the only main thing that we know is that it's a 1-year deal that can be worth up to a maximum of $20 million. That's from Adam Schefter with incentives. So we don't know what the base is. I'm waiting for further. Again, they're going to hopefully come out during live on the show. Hopefully we get the rest, but a maximum value of $20 million. But probably that base, I'm going to be speculating like a $10 million base with all these incentives for playoffs, which we've seen before when they sign veterans like this, playoffs, games played, of course, to your point that he has not played a full season since 2015. Those are going to be some of them. And as they come in, like I said, people, YouTube super chat them in so I don't miss it and it comes in, but I'm refreshing and trying to keep an eye out for it. But right now, 1-year deal, maximum value of $20 million is what we know at this point.
Yeah, like I still think the move at 10, I know people are like, oh, well, now we're definitely much more sure than we were at the offensive line, but I still think got to double down and take another tackle or someone like, and this may not be a popular opinion, but like Fuega, who views as a right tackle, in my opinion, but probably could play guard and be an exceptional guard, like someone with that positional versatility. I just think at this point, especially with his health concerns, and Moses is 33 too, so there's no guarantees that he plays a full season. You need somebody to kind of just put it all in on doubling down, making sure we have a strong depth at the offensive line position.
Here's one name. I have not considered this name the entire offseason, despite like Field Yates is a big fan of this player, and I'm sure you've heard the name. But the reason I haven't said this player is because people say throwing him out there as an immediate starter is scary because of it. But he may have the most upside of almost anyone in the draft, and that player is simply this. Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. Connor Rogers has sung sweet praise about him. Field Yates has been all over him as this crazy tackle. And in this case, you have the luxury. So you have the luxury of Tyron Smith and Morgan being your starters. And then you also have Carter Warren and hopefully a David Bakhtiari or some other prominent tackle. So Guyton can take his time. And hopefully, to your point, Moses is 33, last year of his deal. Tyron is 33, and this is the only year of his deal that Guyton could step up immediately thereafter. Or to your point, if injuries hit, I think that's something that we shouldn't brush off. Immediately, the thought is wide receiver. Right. And we're getting, distracted by the shiny objects like Devontae Adams. Let's get freaky. But I think to your point, though, that's it. That we can't rule out tackle still.
Yeah, like not to rule out Guyton, because if I haven't seen the tape on him, so I don't really know much about him. But if he's the guy that they want to go with, I'm fine with that. But if he's not a consent, like my view is, it's got to be, if you're picking top 10, you've got to pick a consensus top 2 or top 3 positional player at that. So if Guyton is 4 or 5 consensus, you got to trade back. And
yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I just think that, and I really, really hope that we just, and we never do this as an organization, but just go all in and trade up, like get all, go for all. Go for Sean,
that'd be so fun.
One of these guys, and just say, listen, like even if you miss, like you're doubling down and you're saying, listen, this is the guy we thought is the top tackle, and even if he doesn't start day one, we've got an insurance policy for everything. We're covered on every angle.
Yeah, I'd love tackle or receiver, to be honest with you. So if they fall in love with one of the three and they're like, you know what, F this. And because, again, I think there's going to be, to Daniel Jeremiah, I keep repeating this tweet he sent out earlier, from his sources and people he's talked to, 4 quarterbacks are going in the top 6. So all of a sudden you start doing that math. Obviously, the closer it gets to the Jets, the less you have to pay. So that could be an opportunity with 3 receivers for the top 6. Start doing the math. Wait a second. Someone's going to be within a reasonable range where you're not giving up the 20-25 first, and you could get a dynamic pass catcher. That could be tempting. Or to your point, no matter what the math, 4 quarterbacks top 6, the receivers or the offensive tackles are going to be there in a trade-up scenario. Either or, I'm like, yes, because we're all in, and those are all-in pieces that can help in case of injury or others.
Quarterback, right? Like, who's the fourth quarterback that everyone... Is it McCarthy? Is it Bo Nix?
That's what they're saying. I'm hearing McCarthy, but again, to your point, is it a surprise? Is it Penix? Is it Nix? You're like, whoa, mama, whoa, where the hell did this come from?
This is going to sound awful, but like, I never... Again, how many left-handed quarterbacks are super duper successful? And maybe it's one of those things. Like,
Young.
If you get Steve Young, I get it. But like, we're talking about 90s, right? Like Tua, okay.
Yeah, right.
Tua, like you could argue he's good to some extent, but he's always hurt. But like, there's not many left-handed quarterbacks that are super duper successful.
Oh, Michael Vick's one off the top of my head. I haven't gotten to a list yet. Michael Vick, obviously.
It's very, very rare, though. Like,
for sure. The list has to be rare. I got to imagine people who are just left-handed in general has to be rare. Ken the Snake Stabler. We're going old, though. I'm trying to... Tua is a good current one. Brunell, of course. That's a good one. I don't know. Tim Tebow, former Jets legend, is worth throwing on the list. But like there's
Boomer's a good one.
Of course, that's another really good one. Scott Mitchell you could throw on there from the Lions. Ken the Snake Stabler talked about that one. Boomer's on there. Steve Young. So I think Tua, unless I'm missing someone obvious, I think he's really the only prominent left-hander I can think of that's in the game right now.
Well, the reason I say that is because you really change the complexion of your offense, because receivers have said this in a lot of press conferences that the ball comes out differently. It's a different rotation, right? To the same extent.
Yes, right. It's the opposite rotation. Yes.
Your right tackle being your left tackle. So not every left tackle can move to the right side. So there's a lot of really nuance to your offense that changes when you have a left-handed quarterback.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. The ball's different. Everything's different. Really, you have to inverse a lot of it because your blind side is now the opposite tackle. Yeah. So really, you're right. The complete opposite changes. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's why, honestly, who was it? Was it Wirfs? Am I thinking about the right person? Tristan Wirfs was a right tackle
in college exclusively. Yep. And then he was at right tackle initially in the NFL. And ironically enough, from what I've heard, Nick, this is what I heard about it in the pre-draft process, because both tackles were on the board. It was Tristan Wirfs and Beckman. They ended up going back to back because Jets went 11. I think actually the Buccaneers might have went like 14th. But either way, he was the second tackle to go. From what I heard from the Jets people I know, the reason they picked Becton is because he's a left tackle and Wirfs wasn't, and blindside protector was more important. And the thing is, if that's true, the things that makes them look like an idiot is Wirfs ended up flipping to left tackle this past season anyway, and Becton flipped to right tackle this season.
Was it Wills? Wills, who went to Cleveland, was a right tackle at Alabama?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking about. So he was a right tackle at Alabama for Tua, right? So he's protecting the blind side.
Right, yes, the inverse. Yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it adds such a different element to things. Really, what do you think about – so – we brought in Clowney for a visit today. I always like Clowney. Who doesn't like a number one pick? But, I mean, I don't think edge rusher is a third edge rusher specifically, not starting. Is JJ and Will McDonald are presumed the starters, right?
Yes, I would say unquestionably.
Yeah, I can't envision spending like more than 5 to maybe 9 million on a third edge rusher,
You mentioned the price tag right there to me. I think that's exactly the window. It's the Javon Kinlaw-ish kind of contract. Clowney, I love. I think actually he's visiting next week. I think he just visited Carolina. But either way, Clowney is an elite run stuffer. Love that, especially in this scheme. He's coming off a 9.5 sack season. He's never been a double-digit sack guy in his entire career. He's been close on 4 occasions. He's had 9 and 9.5 seasons. But maybe with the Jets, with all this talent, it could take him over the top potentially. I'm in that same range as you, though. Beyond like 10 million, I'm like, whoa. He just played on a $2.5 million deal last year. What a great value for the Ravens. And he $2.5 million to the sack production. If you're just comparing him straight up, Bryce Huff got 3 years, $51 million. If you can get Clowney for anywhere under 10, I mean, I think we all go, well, he's not Huff, obviously, but that's not a bad consolation, all things considered. So I don't think it's a number one need, but it's up there for the Jets, getting another edge rusher for that rotation.
Yeah, it's that unit, right? Like that's how they view the offensive and defensive line. It's a unit together, and especially the defensive line more so than it's.
Of course,
hey, we're bringing 10 bodies at you at once. Over the course of every quarter. You have to deal with a fresh Kinlaw, a fresh Quinn and Williams, a fresh JJ, whatever it is on that end. I really am expecting a lot from Kinlaw.
Yeah. I hope so too, because I've got a lot of high hopes. Nick, I got one. I just want to thank you. Thanks for jumping on, brother. Yeah, of course. See ya. And I want to bring on this guy. I was just on his channel a few minutes ago, so let me get him on. I'm sorry. I know that your time's tight here, Connor. Welcome to the show, brother. NY Flight Jets Talk host. What's up, Connor?
Thank you for having me. We'll appreciate it. I mean, obviously, we're just on my show, and then we were both talking about how we don't think Tyron Smith was going to come, and then obviously, as you can see, I'm literally in my pajamas right now. So what happened? Here's the timeline of about my last hour so far.
Oh, please do.
Get out of the shower, go take out my phone. I'm about to go to sleep, just laying in bed scrolling, and I see all these tweets from Ian Rappaport that the Jets signed Tyron Smith. I'm like, this can't be real. And then I literally run down as fast as I can from my room down to my basement where like my kind of like podcast area is.
Sure.
And I start streaming, and from what I'm hearing, I was the first one to get started. So I take that as a compliment.
Then you just beat me then. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, I couple seconds, but glad to be on. I really like the signing, and I was saying if we were to sign him, I wanted a lot of incentives just because he really struggles to stay healthy, and that's what the Jets did. 1-year deal. You're not committing to him for too long.
Hey, wait a second. Breaking news just coming in. Mike Williams is visiting the Panthers this week. He visits the Jets on Monday. Mike Williams, former LA Chargers wide receiver. That just coming in. So shout out. Let me get my Jet fan right. William, who sends me DMs when he sees Jet stuff when I'm on live streams and stuff. William sends it to me. That is Sheena Quick. Yeah, let me get her proper. She's a Panthers beat writer down there in Carolina. She has it. Mike Williams visiting the set on Monday for the New York Jets. Oh, they're making moves, baby. I love it. Sorry to interrupt, Connor, but that breaking news.
No, of course. Definitely feel free to hop in whenever we hear. So I thought you were about to say the Jets signed Mike Williams, and I was like, no, visiting is very, very solid. I like him. I think him and Boyd are definitely the ways to go. But imagine like. I'd be cool with an OBJ if like Odunze possibly fell to us. Like could you imagine that Garrett, OBJ, and Odunze is like your top 3? That would be or even like Neighbors.
Sure, but I think that's to your point, though. You asked me like how realistic is it? These are mock drafts, of course. I've read 3 mock drafts tonight because I'm a freak and I need to go to a psychiatric home. But I read 3 mock drafts tonight, and in all 3, they're from separate big name places, ESPN, all these other places. Odunze fell to 9 in all 3 places, and in all 3 scenarios, that whoever was mocking picked Odunze for the Bears. They have DJ Moore. They have Keenan Allen. If Odunze makes it to the Bears at 9, there's a very real chance. Well, you could trade up, sure, and just do it. Just get it handled to get it done with. But it is very realistic that he could fall one more spot to the Jets or do that flip. Remember, a couple years ago, the Jets considered it with Garrett Wilson because Seattle was at 9, and they were talking about potentially flipping because the Jets didn't want to lose Garrett Wilson. They end up waiting, and it works out. So, yes, it's very possible, man.
So what would you think? Obviously, there has been talk about it would probably take a pick 10 and a 2 to move up like 4 picks to get alt. To move up 1 pick, would you think it would mean like this pick and like a fourth or 2 fourths? I don't know for like a caliber. We're only going up 1 spot, but this Romo Dunze guy, I mean, Bucky Brooks has him going 3rd overall in his mock draft, I
Whoa.
believe. No,
Wow.
it's not. No, Jeremiah has him going 3rd in his mock draft, I believe. One of the two, and then one of the guys had um top the top five players. Oh my god, I can't speak. In the top 7 being offensive linemen, which is crazy. Like
So
out of the top 7, 5 players being offensive linemen. So like there were so many different perspectives from all these guys. I don't even know like what to expect, and it all doesn't really matter until draft night because I don't think one analyst had linked Will McDonald's name to the Jets.
Well, of course. And by the way, for your quick question on draft value chart, that's a thing I love checking. The difference between where the Jets pick and the Bears pick is a point differential of 50 points. That is equivalent to a late 4th round pick, which of course the Jets have 2 of, which by the way, let me make sure I get my math here. What is that? The Jets have 130-ish. So theirs is a little bit 135. That was the Baltimore switch. So their 111 would be a overpay according to the overlords of draft value, but I'd be willing to do it 100%. I think it's worth it. 1,000%, Connor. Yes.
If you can get those 3, like those 3, like OBJ, if just those 3, but imagine like unrealistic. If I feel like it's very unrealistic if the Jets side on Mike Williams and Boyd and then went like Dunze and Neighbors.
Yeah,
I think
I agree. That'd be overkill. But one and the other, I think, is totally possible. OBJ OBJ or Mike Williams or Tyler Boyd or whoever your choices of those 3. And then Odunze or something. That's all on the table to me, 100%. I told you on your show, which again, make sure you guys subscribe to New York Fight Jets Talk. Yeah, of course. I'm a company man, but I think there will be an addition in trade or free agency and draft. Like so, one of trade or free agency and then also draft. I think there will be 2 that comes from that pool, 1 draft and 1 from trade or free agency. I believe that's the play for the New York Jets, a wide receiver.
Yeah, well, there are also some other names. I mean, I know your boy Goldilocks, the draft analyst. He said he's not completely sold on this. He said on the stock exchange he's not completely sold on Brian Thomas Jr. But that's another name that the Jets could possibly look at. Xavier Worthy, the dude who just broke the
Texas,
40 record.
yes.
Yeah, the kid out of Texas. I think he'd be a solid option. I think Joe Douglas has done a really good job this free agency, and I think this signing gives us we can go in so many different directions now. I feel like now that AVT we got what at least I wanted, and I think AVT is going to be locked in to play right guard next year, and I think that's going to be there. And then let's say the Jets really want to develop. They see a lot in Fashanu and Fuaga and want to develop them under Tyron Smith. Learn from him for 1 year. I wouldn't hate that. I mean, they wouldn't come in, obviously. They'd probably be a swing tackle, but this offensive line is a ton of depth. I mean, we have Carter Warren, who I think is solid, and I think Schweitzer. I think Schweitzer's a solid option. I think so many guys that we have now that we can move around. But this signing, I think, is really good because this secures our offensive line right now. If this was our day 1 starting offensive line, sign me up. And I think it is going to be our day 1 starting offensive line. And just oof. Now I can see us going maybe a Mike Williams and a Boyd, possibly Bowers at 10, just because I think the Jets will look and be like, we can get a guy in like the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, like a Brendan Rice maybe to put with the Boyd and Williams, and then we'll get Bowers who we can line up in the backfield and all of this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on all that. It all sounds fantastic. I'm revved up for it. I believe this will be your starting line outside of something crazy. Someone brought it up earlier, one of the other callers, to your point, that while we're all dreaming of a Dunze and Brock Bowers and all these, and those all could happen, that's exciting. And now the draft conversation, to me, has evolved to another level now that you've unlocked Tyron. I've said it throughout the entire offseason that Tyron unlocks your offseason if you're the Jets, because now everything's on the table. You don't have to rely on the draft of Joel or Olu. And oh boy, fingers crossed, hope one of those guys get to us. You don't have to worry anymore. If they do get you, great. Maybe you can take them, and to your point, you have a swing tackle. I'd feel a lot differently. I think Jet fans would agree that, when they took Will McDonald, people were like, boy, what a weird luxury to take. I don't think people would evaluate the same way if the Jets took offensive line in this class, because Tyron's 33, Morgan's 33. Having another guy who's going to be ready to go if an injury happens, and or ready to go for the following season to hopefully take a torch from a Tyron or Morgan. That's the play potentially for the Jets. But I'm all on board. All these options, they're all options. That was my favorite, Connor, when you're doing a test, a Scantron, okay? Choices. I love options, and that's exactly what the New York Jets have in this draft. Now that they have signed Tyron Smith, my boy, my number one target. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I like him. I know you and Woody did like the 5 call thing, and then obviously they made like the graphics for it and everything. Yeah. I'm personally happy the Jets didn't sign Michael Onwenu, and I'm happy they went out and got Tyron Smith. I think Onwenu's talented, but here's the way I look at it.
Sure.
He was a backup until last year, until he kind of came in and rose to the occasion. Obviously, he was a free agent. The Patriots day one of free agency had $101 million in cap room before they made any moves. And I felt like saying to myself, they have $101 million in cap room. If they don't bring back this guy, Michael Onwenu, there's definitely something that we don't know about him that they know, and they're just trying to get him off, because this guy had really no value. He had value. That's a solid backup, but not a ton of value until this year when he really rose to the occasion. Then he was a top name on the tackle market, and I was like, they have $101 million in cap room. They grew him. If they don't re-sign him, they must know something we don't. With $101 million in cap room, found that interesting. They brought him back, though. Love Tyron Smith edition. Boy Green, have a great night. See you on Boy Green Connor. Daily tomorrow in 9 hours.
Yeah, right. Get some sleep, Connor. And wife like Jets talk there. In his jammies. Look at Connor. Phenomenal. A lot to unpack there with what he said. And again, in case you guys just missed it, on top of the Tyron Smith breaking news, which is what the show's all about, we got 2,500 plus people in this friggin' room, was this. Again, shout out to William, the Jets fan that DM'd me this. The New York Jets are meeting with former LA Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams. He's meeting with the Panthers on Tuesday. He meets with the Jets on Monday, and today's Friday. So actually, wow, the Jets get the meeting with him first. So, I did not see that till just now. So Jets get the meeting with him first on Monday, and then he meets with the Panthers on Tuesday. Maybe if the Jets are convincing enough, he never makes the second meeting, baby. We'll see. I think Mike Williams fits a lot of what the New York Jets need. He's a vertical presence, 50-50 ball, bazooka, big boy dude. The only thing that scares me is injuries. If you remember back to his college days, he had a very scary neck situation, and he has since bounced back and put up video game numbers. But that's always something long-term. Necks are very serious. It's not like a fingernail. It's a very serious injury. Plus, he's coming off the torn ACL. And how quickly can he come back off the torn ACL? As we saw from Breece Hall, of course, he was an alien, and he played in all 17 games, and he looked great. Not everyone heals in that same way, so we have to have reasonable expectations. But even as a guy that, let's just say he's a quote-unquote role player for the Jets and can occasionally take the top off of a defense, to me, that would be fascinating. That would be tasty. That'd be all those things. So I think really the 3 receivers that are being very much connected to the Jets, Mike Williams is visiting the Jets on Monday. Which must be who Sauce was talking about now that we're getting it. I didn't even think about that till now. So apparently Sauce knew this was the receiver that was visiting, unless there's somebody else. So the 3 guys that we're talking about are OBJ. I don't think, he could be a wide receiver 3. Tyler Boyd could be a wide receiver 3. I think Mike Williams has wide receiver 2 upside potentially. So those are the guys. And as James says, like the freaking video, everybody, let's throw that up on the big board here. Like it. Okay, we have 2,200 people in here because the Jets made a blockbuster move securing the blind side of left tackle. So whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're watching on Twitter, like the video, follow me, hit all the love. We appreciate it. All right, let's get to this guy. He was waiting patiently last time. Let's go to Bijan Robinson, the running back for the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, Bijan, RB1, baby. Never questioned it.
I wish I had his athletic ability. But no. Really, really excited about this signing was definitely unexpected.
Sure.
Based on that contract, it seems like they took that Bryce Huff, money that unfortunately, probably maybe could have used him. But hey, nonetheless, we took the money, put it toward a spot we desperately needed at left tackle. And, it seems like the way the draft is going to fall, I mean, based on recent days, you've got Atlanta trading for a couple of receivers, so they might pass on a number 2 receiver and go pass rusher. And even the Bears with the trade for Keenan Allen, I mean, they still might take Odunze because, Allen's up there in age, but they also might take a pass rusher. So there is a world where an Odunze, a Bowers, if you feel like that's value there.
And Titans, just to jump on your point, not to interrupt you, Bichon, but Titans signed Calvin Ridley. So 7 doesn't look like a receiver. 8, to your point, doesn't look like a receiver, Falcons.
Yep.
Chicago, so you eliminate 7, 8, 9. So you remove those 3 from the board. 4 quarterbacks are going. That's 7 picks. That means 2 more picks, and there's 3 big receivers. If that math plays through, of course, trade-ups can happen, and these teams that don't need it could trade with someone who does. But even with that math, that means one of the 3 would get to the New York Jets, and we're not even talking about offensive tackles yet beyond that. So that, to me,
Yeah, I mean, and if you're not, I know the concern with Tyron is a little bit like Bakhtiari. I mean, to a lesser extent, Bakhtiari is like,
of course,
well, we expect like maybe 2 games out of him or something. But if you're worried about the injury issue or history with him, you can also potentially trade back from 10, maybe grab a Brian Thomas a little later, and then in that second round, grab that tackle in the second round, because it's a 1-year deal for Tyron. It's a 1-year deal for Morgan Moses. I know they like Carter Warren, but to have that developmental guy just in case something happens. Because I mean, as we saw last year, definitely need 10 guys. I think we're about at 7 or 8 right now. So having an extra guy definitely helps.
Yeah, because we got the 5 starters. We have Carter Warren, that's 6. We have Max Mitchell. We have Jake Hansen, who they brought back. So Schweitzer, that's another one. So we're floating around 9-ish right now. Yeah, and there's more.
Guy.
Yep, Hansen is there, and then we'll see. I think Connor McGovern is a likely re-sign candidate. That would make sense behind Tippmann. So again, they're cooking. They're cooking here, and they need to. Joe Douglas admitted it at the end of the season. They entered last season with 9 offensive linemen. He said we shouldn't have played around with the numbers. That was a terrible decision, and we will add more this time. Why not?
Yeah.
So learn from your mistakes of the past.
I as much as I like the story of Nick Bodden, just take the fullback, put him on the practice squad or something, have that 10th spot for alignment. I don't care.
Jeremy Rucker can play fullback. I don't know why they don't do it, but Bodden, go on the practice squad, and we can elevate you a couple of times during the season. Put Rucker at fullback, maximize your roster, and get an extra offensive lineman. You want the break the glass when you have Aaron Rodgers, a fullback, again, with all due respect. And if we say with all due respect, we can then insult anyone we want. Dem's the rules. So sorry, Nick Bodden, may have to go to the PS, the practice squad.
If Andy Reid says that the fullback position is being phased out of the NFL, I think then everybody else should kind of fall in line at this point with what that man is saying. So,
yeah, 1,000%. So again, he's an offensive genius, and again, I'm not just trying to be the dinosaur archaeologist extincting fullbacks, but in this particular case, for what the Jets need now, I think it is más importante to make sure you secure the trenches. Depth is still going to be a thing. Who is that other tackle? Is it Donovan Smith? Someone brought that up earlier. Is it Bakhtiari? Who is that extra tackle? I think you need a little bit more chutzpah, especially with Tyron and Morgan there as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the age is a little bit concerned, and I would be super ecstatic. I know the reports just came out about. I think the Panthers are also interested in Clowney and Mike Williams, but if I'm looking at those guys, veterans, towards the end of their time in the NFL, just because they're kind of up there in age. Well, but Clowney more so, I guess, but you got way more of a shot in New York than you do with Carolina, unless it comes down to money.
Yeah,
I think New York's the spot if it's one of the versus the other.
Yeah, and I get it for, again, Clowney went to South Carolina as another guy. So I would understand the quote unquote going home and maybe getting the bag. Mike
right.
Williams. Oh, yeah. And Mike Williams, I didn't even think about that. So he's a Clemson guy. So both of those are South Carolina guys. I didn't even think about
I
that.
didn't know that.
So,
Okay.
wow. So off the top of my head. So, yeah, I guess they could pluck the heartstrings, but hopefully, to your point, the compelling nature of Aaron Rodgers and New York and this trip, hopefully that brings some of them over. So I didn't even think about that till we were just talking. But yeah, that could be the intrigue of those. But hopefully, obviously the Jets can't offer as much money as Carolina, probably in either scenario. But hopefully, again, the sweet, allure of winning, which again the Panthers had the number 1 overall pick, even though they didn't have it. Like I think that part will be compelling as a recruitment tool.
Yeah, the pressure will be taken off. Like for Mike, for example, he's not going to be like in Carolina. He might be the number 1 because Deontay's like okay, Thielen is okay, but there's not a clear. Even if Mike goes there, I mean, it's kind of like 1A 1B situation. He is clearly going to be number 2. The pressure's not going to be on him. Plus, like we were mentioning, like could get a Odunze, could get a Brian Thomas if you trade down.
And think about who's throwing him the ball. Bryce Young, with all due respect, Aaron friggin' Rodgers. I mean, God, what are we talking about?
Yeah. A big difference there. Big difference there. So
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm much more, it was a little bit of a slow burn this off season.
Yes.
I was getting a little worried, but
yes,
it's starting to come together more, definitely. So
that it is. Bijan, thank you so much for taking the time to call in, buddy. Enjoy this, man. All of us Jet fans should be rejoicing right now, pal.
Yeah. Will do.
All right. Thanks, brother. There he is. Bijan joining us on the show. Again, the pinned comment on YouTube is your way to click and join the show, react to the news. Again, Tyron Smith is the big boy news. We came on live. Apparently, Counter beat us, that bastard, but he beat us live. But we went live 10 minutes after the news. I had to set up the stream real quick and put the graphics together. But we came on live 10 minutes after the Tyron Smith news. So we've been live ever since, an hour plus here on the channel. And the other news is the Jets are set to meet with Mike Williams on Monday. Sauce Gardner kind of hinted at a mystery receiver. Seems like we now know who the mystery receiver is, plus Jadeveon Clowney next week as well. The big next need for the Jets, of course, is finding someone opposite of Garrett Wilson, who is wide receiver 2. Quite frankly, who's wide receiver 3? I think Alan Lazard is wide receiver 4, and the Jets are trying to trade him. Now, good luck with those endeavors, of course, trying to trade Alan Lazard. I have no idea who in the hell would take him, and we'll probably break this down more on one of the weekend episodes, but, he is a guy that was called out by Robert Saleh publicly, and he's a guy who does not call players out. He called them out and questioned his edge, and that he lost it. And he was a healthy scratch for multiple games. And then in the media after, he deflected blame and stuff. So, this is just a lot of red flags that I don't think I would be for. Obviously, the Jets are not for having him on the team. So we'll see what happens there. But they need at least a wide receiver 2 and a 3. So let's see what happens there from that perspective. So TBD. But wide receiver is the next need for the Jets on top of offensive line depth. All right, Michael on Twitter. How much cap do we have left? Michael, impossible to say. A lot of the figures are not official yet. And plus, the only thing we know, again, unless something's changed, is Tyron Smith signed a 1-year deal with a maximum value of $20 million. We don't know what the cap hit is. Was there void years attached to this contract? We should learn these in the coming days. So we'll find that out. Rich Samini has a full column about it, but I don't want to try to read it while doing a show here with you guys. So you guys could go check that out. Maybe there's more details coming up in that. So we do not know how much cap the Jets have. A lot of the deals still have to go all the way through the process of base structure, signing bonuses, and things of that nature. All right, let's keep looking here. CBW on Twitter says, have to pay a team to take Lazard. Probably a draft pick, quite frankly. It would probably be you'd pay some of the salary and give up a draft pick, and that's a lot. Like, good Lord. My only thing would be this. Obviously, Lazard has been so far among one of the worst free agent signings in Jets franchise history. The healthy scratches, the limited production, the getting called out by your coach, the deflecting blame in the media. There's a very bad taste in our mouth. But I would just say this on Lazard. I don't understand going to these lengths. Like, obviously, the first year was terrible. But with Aaron Rodgers, inevitably, as MJ Dunn says here as well, he's inevitably going to be better. And don't factor him into the big boy equations. Put him at wide receiver 4. Wide receiver 5 and 6 can be your UDFAs, Jason Brownlee and Xavier Gibson. Wide receiver 4 could be Lazard. Garrett Wilson's number 1, and Phil 2 and 3. 2 and 3 could be OBJ, Tyler Boyd, or Mike Williams. And then wide receiver 3 could be the young rookie. Is it Rome Odunze? Is it someone at pick 72? Like, you have some opportunities here to try to figure out what that looks like. To me, I think Lazard will inevitably be better with Rodgers. He can't be worse. And with him rising on up, I don't think there's any reason to ditch Lazard because there's no cap relief, relatively speaking, for that. So that one to me does not make sense unless he's some sort of locker room cancer. And I don't imagine that'll be the case with Aaron Rodgers there. Aaron Rodgers, while I get he's not the coach or GM or anything, he's going to crack the whip and keep everybody in line, keep everybody together. So I would be puzzled, quite frankly, if the Jets just like grenaded Alan Lazard by offering another team a draft pick and eating some of the money to go to those lengths. That just seems excessive. If you feel that poorly about him, then just straight up cut him. Because I imagine, as Zach Rosenblatt, Diana Rossini, and everybody, Connor Hughes, and all these guys reported, that Lazard came up in trade talks. Like, let's be real for a second. Lazard didn't come up in trade talks of other teams saying, hey, Jets, is he available? There is a negative % chance that happened, which means the only way it came up is if the Jets, while they're talking trade with someone else, hey, by the way, we could throw something in. Oh, what are you talking about? Alan Lazard, they're like, no. So that part I just don't understand. So yes, MJ Dunn on YouTube, I do believe Aaron Rodgers will inevitably raise high tide. I use this comment. I've used this all show. High tide rises all boats. And that includes Lazard, who obviously has a special connection with Rodgers. So he makes a lot of sense to me. And yes, Gerard, this is one I have not mentioned yet. Obviously, Corey Davis is reinstated into the NFL. The Jets have cut him. He's an unrestricted free agent. He can sign with whoever the hell he wants. But as the Jets are doing moves like this, like Tyron Smith, and investigating their options, Corey Davis would be an interesting one for the Jets. It would make the most, again, we'll see if the Chiefs offer him a contract, maybe that's different. But, you know, Corey Davis was with the team through August, a large part of training camp. He had a relationship with Aaron Rodgers that they built over months from Rodgers showing up in draft week plus OTAs, Corey Davis working with him. So they had months of working with all each other. So Corey Davis to skip out on them and playing with Rodgers would be bizarre to me. I'd be very puzzled if he ends up signing somewhere else, unless it's crazy money. If it's no money, it's going to be super puzzling. Like, wow, he left the Jets and then signed for no nothing with somebody. If he signs for crazy money, you're like, oh, okay, he just wanted to get another bag. Respect. But that one seems, I don't want to call it inevitable that he comes back to the Jets because certainly not. He was released, but I'm curious to keep an eye out for that one as well. So how much does Corey Davis cost? What does it look like? The coaching staff loves him. He has a relationship already with Rodgers. He is certainly one to watch. So as I throw out names like OBJ, Tyler Boyd, and Mike Williams, we do have to keep Corey Davis in that conversation. So excuse my Guatemalan. Okay, let me see if I missed any YouTube super chats. So keep those coming, everybody. This is amazing. The New York Jets freaking added Tyron Smith, the number one player I wanted. I'll also peek over at Instagram too. I see on Instagram, Ramon _on_the_rise with Tyrod Taylor and this and upcoming rookies. Can we afford any more under the cap? These are all 1-year deals. Yeah, Tyrod's actually a 2-year deal. That one's 2 years, 18 mil. But let's see. Morgan's a 1 year. Tyron's a 1 year. And there's a couple other 1 years like Solly, Javon, Likey. There's a couple other ones that are 1 years, but again, we don't know because we don't know structure. So thank you for Instagram for sending in some other questions, but right now we do not know. Until we know structure, we can't answer that question with all the knowledge there. This has got to be a hater, I assume. Let me see if I can find it. The comment jumped. Okay, Tyrod is washed. He's 1,000% not washed. Don't let any of you get your brains unfortunately affected by that nonsense in the chat. He is not washed. He's 33. He was a second-team All-Pro last year. He was spectacular. He is the opposite of washed, so I will not handle any of that. If I had a Shadow Realm, I'd throw your ass in there. That is unbelievable garbage. He is not washed at all. Complete trash. Complete trash. Now, you can bring up the injuries and say, fine, that he 2 of the last 4 years, he's missed significant time. That's fair. Not this past season, but 2 of the 4 past years of his career he has, yes. But he's averaged 13 starts a year throughout his entire career. So have a guy ready like a Donovan Smith or a rookie or somebody to do that. I think that's important to have an insurance. But to say he's washed is complete garbage. Joey R on YouTube. Boy Green, would you pick Brock Bowers at 10? He's on the table for me at 10. He was on before, quite frankly, but in particular now, I feel a lot better about it. It feels a lot more responsible now that you have Tyron Smith at left tackle, that Brock Bowers could be on the board, one of the receivers we talked about. Because here's the thing with Brock Bowers. Again, I go back and forth because different analysts convince me in different ways. Matt Miller is not a tight end top 10 guy. Ben Solak is a Brock Bowers guy. Connor Rogers, I don't want to label him one way or the other because I don't remember his emphatic nature, but he's talked very highly of him. But Brock Bowers is a talented pass catcher. And while we may question whether Nathaniel Hackett can get the most out of Brock Bowers, we won't question whether or not Aaron Rodgers can get the most out of him. So 1,000% for me, he's available. He's on the board. He is on the board of options for the New York Jets. Let's see. Trade for Devontae Adams. Cameron Peters screams on YouTube. And I will tell you, I told you guys before, I was right on Tyron Smith, so maybe I'll continue to be right. That one is not dead to me. Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell are the quarterbacks of the Raiders. If I'm the Jets, I investigate what it looks like. Of course, you have to figure out salary cap because, again, none of us know how much salary cap they have. Only the Jets do of what they have left. There's other restructures they can make. They haven't touched JFM yet. They give the extension to Mosley, which created like 12-ish million. Who else? There's a couple others that they could. DJ Reed, they can extend. He has a $15 million cap hit this year. They could extend him and lower that significantly. That could create some more money. So if they want, they could make Devontae Adams happen. Absolutely. Of course, it takes two to tango. The Raiders would have to want to trade him, of course, but that one is among the possibilities. Absolutely, it's among the possibilities. Let's keep going through the comments here. Trade for Devontae Adams and get David Bakhtiari. Again, I think Bakhtiari is happening. Adams, we'll see. I don't think that one's dead. Like the video, everybody, for everyone to watch. We got 2,500 people in the room. Good Lord have mercy. And for good reason. I'm just so freaking elated about Tyron Smith. You have no idea. I was fist pumping earlier. Brian Jones on Twitter. Would you guys still be interested in Bakhtiari for a cheap 1-year deal for $4 or $5 million? How good are the incentives? Maybe it'll be around that with the incentives. Now, would Bakhtiari want to come in when there's a Tyron Smith? Like Bakhtiari would have wanted to come in with like a rookie left tackle or Donovan Smith or something. With Tyron, who's just so proven, like there's no like, let's see how this guy swims. Like he's a veteran shark that has battle scars, and he's been around the league. So the only way Bakhtiari would get on the field in that scenario is as a swing tackle, injury insurance. So, yeah, maybe. I'd like to see the incentive package there. Tony, get Spencer Rattler with the 3rd round pick. Possible. I mean, shoot, we haven't talked about it yet because I didn't want people to go crazy, but quarterback is on the board at 10 potentially because you filled all those needs. If the Jets get froggy, they could go in that direction. I hope they don't personally because I'm all about the chase. I want the wide receiver. I want the thing that can help, the left tackle even, Brock Bowers. But quarterback is sneaky on the board if they don't go 4 of the top 6 like a lot of people think and the right guy falls to the Jets. But again, I think that'd be malpractice with that high of a pick and what the Jets need. That would be crazy. CBW, trade down now a good possibility? I don't know if the chances increase one way or the other. It helps you a little bit to have the flexibility to have left tackle figured out, at least for this year. Before this Tyron Smith thing, the thing that continued to scare me, and why I was telling every show on the planet this, if you missed out on Joe or Olu Fashanu, which is totally possible at 10, you could have, and this is pre-Tyron Smith move, you totally could have missed out on one or both of those guys. And if you did, you were effed. You either had to sign a late David Bakhtiari if he was still available around draft time, a Donovan Smith if he was still available, or play ABT at left tackle. And the ABT at left tackle thing kind of was like, I don't know. Because limited amount of ops, let's keep him at guard. Although everything I had been hearing was ABT to tackle. I'm glad that was wrong because now he's going to play right guard for the New York Jets. So trade down is within the possibilities. Brian Costello told me the Jets are not quote unquote desperate for a 2nd round pick. They're comfortable with pick 72. They believe they could get a starter there. They want to get 2 starters out of this draft. This is how Brian Costello of the New York Post described it to me. So it's among the possibilities. I think trading up is still a huge possibility for the New York Jets. Cameron Peters on YouTube. Bakhtiari, when healthy, is the best left tackle I've ever seen. He definitely worth it. Yeah, he is talented. There's no doubt about it. The when healthy part is a tough pill to swallow. He's played missed 34 something games the last couple of years. And that's another question that Steven asked on YouTube. Is Bakhtiari cool being a depth piece? Well, he's going to have to be, or he ain't coming here. There's no way in hell. And he'd have to be comfortable with that, quite frankly, wherever he goes, unless the team is crazy. To miss 34 some odd games here, baby. To miss that amount of games and to say, yeah, you're our starter, any team, not just the Jets as a Jet show, of course, but any team? I don't know, man. That'd be wild to me. But there's 32 teams and tackles are scarce, so maybe someone's crazy enough. That won't be me or the Jets, I hope. That to me would be wild. Well, not hope, because Tyron Smith is playing, obviously. But, yeah, but it's a fair question, though. People have to realize, we've talked about Joe Flacco, although he ended up getting the starting job with the Browns, as he was progressing through his career, and they made him a backup a little bit in Denver with the Drew Lock situation, Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, he did not handle it well going to backup. And because sometimes it's for these elite athletes, it's hard to flip the switch in your brain where you're like, I'm a superstar, I'm a superstar, I'm a superstar, I'm a backup. Like that's got to be a hard mental shift to have and then to continue in the league. Some can't and they don't continue in the league. So it's an honest conversation David Bakhtiari has to have with himself or perhaps Aaron Rodgers to Bakhtiari. But certainly something to pay attention to. Let's keep AVT healthy and MJ done. I think the best opportunity for that to happen is what has transpired thus far, is that AVT to right guard. I think that's the big thing for the New York Jets, is that's where he could stay. That's where he has predominantly stayed healthy. Both times he's been injured, whether randomness or not, has been when he was playing offensive tackle. And right now he's not scheduled to play offensive tackle, which is great news for the Jets. The fact that we know the starting offensive line right now on March 15th is a phenomenal place to be. An absolutely phenomenal place to be. For sure. I mean, Hooper, 100% it's true. Mike Williams is visiting the New York Jets on Monday and is scheduled to visit the Panthers on Tuesday. And if things go well, maybe he never leaves the building and he signs on the dotted line. TBD. Like Mike Williams a lot, like the size, would be a great compliment, yin-yang to Garrett Wilson. They bring different things to the table, which, by the way, is one of Garrett Wilson's specific requests at the end of the year, was bringing someone into the receiver room that does something different, and that is obviously what Mike Williams brings to the table. A vertical threat, 50-50 ball. The thing that scares me a little bit is, again, I've mentioned this 1,000 times on the show, but the scary neck injury in college, that still kind of freaks me out. And the other thing is he goes invisible. He just disappears for long stretches. I've had him on my fantasy team. I've watched a ton of Chargers games, and just there's a rhythm of an offense, and where the hell's Mike Williams? And he just one catch for 6 yards, 0 catches. Like, look through his game log on a year-to-year basis, and you'll see these wild gaps of time that he disappears. Is that a Chargers thing? Is that a him thing? That's another question the Jets are going to have to answer as part of this process, but he is wildly talented. And again, now you have the recruiting element here of Aaron Rodgers. As Tyron Smith apparently told Josina Anderson that he did not talk to Aaron Rodgers apparently as part of this recruitment. He had not talked to him yet, maybe in person or whatnot. But so that part helps. But he seemed pretty excited to pass protect for Aaron Rodgers. There's no doubt about it. All right, everybody. Again, the pinned comment on YouTube will be on here for a few more minutes to get any of your reactions here on the program, baby. Any of your live reactions. We have 2,500 people in the room right now. Any of your reactions you guys want to hop on. It's on YouTube. It is the pinned comment. You can see it when you're watching on YouTube, and you can click it, type in a little name, show me that you're on camera, and I will bring you on the show to close this out here for some of your reactions to the Tyron Smith thing, or quite frankly, anything else that may be dancing on your mind with Corey Davis. He's coming out of retirement, Alan Lazard to be traded, or what have you. And I'm seeing we're getting a lot of things blowing up here. I'm getting messages in the War Room Discord. I can only imagine what that is. So we'll have to check on all that here in due time. But again, I can't reiterate enough as we're waiting for any final comments, super chats, or anything of that nature. And again, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, whether live or after the fact, like the video. It's a free way to contribute and promote the channel. Guys, also, if you missed it, I spoke with Thomas Morstead, and he had some really cool comments. A great story on Garrett Wilson about, doing the jersey exchange, but refusing to take any money. That was a really cool. That's in my YouTube shorts as well. You guys can check it out there. He also said he refused multiple teams to pick the Jets. You love hearing that. So he had a lot of really cool comments. It's a quick interview, like 12, 13 minutes. You guys can check that out on my YouTube channel. Or if you prefer the audio only version, that's Boy Green Daily. You guys can search that there as well. But reiterating the initial Tyron Smith message, it's this, folks. The Jets solved the biggest piece of their offseason, left tackle, the blind side protector. That was the most important piece of the puzzle. Now everything is aligned. The surprise Morgan Moses trade, of course, is a massive help. You have AVT, you have Joe Tippmann, you have John Simpson, who's probably your worst offensive lineman. And by the way, that's totally okay. It's totally okay if he's your fifth lineman, because not all of them have to be superstars, but this group has the potential to be above average. Tyron Smith is among the best left tackles in all of football. He was the number 1 rated pass protector of any offensive lineman in the NFL. So let's throw him some love as well. And let's throw up this super chat. Ron Weiss and the voice of Girl Green. Wow. Let's get Bowers now. Here, yep, we got to play the video. We got it here. Here we go. Wow. That is my 2-year-old daughter who bum rushed my morning show the other day. And let's give it another one. This is my reaction to the move. Wow. On with the super chat. Girl Green. I love that nickname. We'll see if that sticks. Let's get Bowers now. That's a possibility at number 10. Beautiful. Thank you for the super chat. And that is a wow. This was the number 1 move I wanted. Number freaking 1. This guy is a stud. He's a star. He is a star. Unbelievable. Fantastic. I love it. I love this offensive line. I can't wait to see Aaron Rodgers. I thought Aaron Rodgers, here's another thing real quick. I thought Aaron Rodgers behind the offensive line as is was going to find ways to make them better because he gets rid of the ball quick. He gets rid of the ball quick, which makes the offensive line better than they are. But to have an offensive line like this plus Aaron Rodgers unlocks all the possibilities. You know, I was super hyped up for last season and for good reason. And I told you guys weeks ago, I am as hyped up now as I was then, even with everything that's transpired, because when you have Aaron Rodgers, you have a chance to win a championship. And the Jets obviously haven't done that in a long time. And they have their best chance. They haven't won an AFC East since 2002. They have their best friggin' chance right now. And I hope they make an aggressive move. Be aggressive the rest of the offseason. Push your chips to the middle of the table and make some things happen, baby. So let me do it one more time just because I love it. Here we go. Wow. Wow. W-O-W. I'm so freaking pumped up, man. All right, let's go back to this guy. And thank you guys for all the wonderful comments. We'll end it by going back to where it all started, baby. Johnny rejoining us, and man, I'm still stunned. I'm going to go to sleep tonight if I am able to go to sleep tonight, and I will wake up tomorrow morning and pinch myself, say, wait a second, is Tyron Smith really our blindside protector?
Yeah, I just finished yelling Tyron Smith and JD after making sweet, passionate love to my wife. So
beautiful.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
We're rooting for twins, baby. We're rooting for twins or triplets, maybe. Yes.
Jets,
baby. I'm so fired up. I'm so fired. I can't believe it. Because to be honest, Johnny, and maybe you're gonna reiterate some of the things I've said. So many insiders. I have an athletic piece up actually as one of these other tabs where they said Tyron Smith likely isn't happening. It was an article I read, and I read it in Connor Hughes' piece. Likely not happening. They're not making this kind of splash. So shut up. It's not happening. I just kept reading it, and I'm like, you could just say, well, if that's what these people say, then fine. It's not going to happen. But every offseason that Joe Douglas has been a part of, he has made a splash. And they haven't always worked, but he's made it. He has got on his Speedo and jumped off the diving board, cannonball, and into the pool. Lakeith Tomlinson, $40 million. Carl Lawson, $45 million. Corey Davis, $37.5 million. He's been willing to dive into the pool before, and there was no diving yet. It was very quiet on that front. Like, weird. Is the dive coming? Maybe it's not coming. Is this different? And then, boom, the dive. Again, we're waiting for the full details, but a 1-year deal, maximum of $20 million. That is the dive at the most important position for the New York Jets outside of quarterback, which they already had squared away. So it's cool. Again, we have all those insiders on our show, so I love having them on the show, and I'm not trying to diss them or anything, but it just, to maintain that positivity, even when no one else is, that Tyron Smith could still happen. And fans telling us all week, stop dreaming about it. It ain't going to happen. They won't spend the money. They spent the money. Love it.
You know how it all started? By you
What's
had
that?
the GOAT, that beautiful man Morstead, on here talking all the positivityness that he brought into this, having his beautiful family up there, signing, bro. This is our year, man. Like I said again, my wife said, why the hell are you yelling two different men's name? I said, just don't worry about it. Just let it happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing, because those are the two men that need to be screened right now. And Aaron Rodgers, throw him in there too. It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. This is the move they needed to make, but we've been Jet fans before, and there have been moves we wanted them to make that they don't make, and this was the obvious one to make. Tyron Smith was just sitting out there to be claimed, and he even talked about it a little bit with Josina. I'm hoping to get Josina on the show soon. I'll have to reach out to her and see from her conversation with Tyron, but it seemed like he was like, well, I was just kind of waiting there. And then the Jets got aggressive like tonight. They just said, F it, let's do this thing. And I love that. I love they just said, all right, enough waiting around, because you just have to strike the snake in the grass and just saying, okay, enough effing around. And they waited several days. So credit to the patience. They're like, okay, let's get this done. And I think that's an important part of the negotiating process, is know when to slow play it and know when to attack. And they're like, F this, we're attacking. This is important. Let's just go. And even if they end up overpaying, because like I said, I don't know the base salary of this deal yet, I still think it was a worthy overpay for what the Jets needed.
And that's the thing. Like, we literally had people in this fan base that were screaming, it's been 20 seconds into free agency and we haven't done anything. Fire Joe Douglas. Get
Woody.
him. Dude, it relax, pump your brakes. Anybody that's ever been in business that makes a big business deal knows it. Whoever is the first person to break is gonna break, and that's it. And then that's when you got them on the stronghold right there. So it is what it is. Look, JD is doing stuff that we've never. Dude, there's people that are wanting to come and play for the Jets. This has not happened in how long? The fact that Aaron Rodgers, like I keep saying this, people think I'm weird. We are like that weird, nerdy looking person in high school, and he was the prom king to be and all that, and picked us up, and we're going to win it all with him. So look, I'm excited, man. Again, you watch wrestling at all?
Of course, yeah. I'm a massive wrestling fan. Yeah,
dude, I'm hyped for WrestleMania coming up.
As am I. Oh yeah,
I acknowledge him.
Yes.
I'm going.
All right, one's up, baby. Yes.
I'm gonna tag.
Yeah.
You do your thing with your sweet, passionate, love-making self tonight, brother. Appreciate
I will.
you.
So thank you. Thank you for that, brother. Thanks for calling back in. I love you, man, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Later, dude.
All right, there he is. Johnny joining us there on the show. Well, I want to give a massive thank you. Unless there's any final super chats or comments that you guys want to send in, thank you everybody for reacting with us. Being a Jets fan is awesome. I have an awesome job. I get to be the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy, where I do articles and podcasts just like this. So thank you to Heavy on Sports for making shows like this possible. We're not on the Facebook page tonight because I just wanted to get it done. I just wanted us to get out there. So we're on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram right now. This is my first time on Instagram. I'm not normally doing lives on Instagram, but I appreciate you guys. And this is going to be a special season. I know I'm optimistic and most people aren't, but this is the year for the Jets to make a run. When you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, a 4-time NFL MVP, you have a chance. When you have an elite defense, you have a chance. When you have superstar talent, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, you have a chance. And we all know that it all goes back to the beginning. Trench warfare and offensive line. And this unit, the Jet could trot out right now here on March 15th, could be above average. And who knows what else it'll be. We got to pray for health. And it's long overdue that the Jets get the right combination of health. Now, will they be Brandon Moore, Damian Woody, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold, Alan Faneca of back-to-back years of playing in 32 consecutive games? I'm not sure. I can't promise that. But damn it, if we could get something close, this team has a chance to do everything we've ever hoped for. and I'm so friggin' fired up. And I hope you guys can be a part of this. Again, we're live every single day here on the channel, 7:30 in the morning, youtube.com/boygreen25. Plus, we're live Tuesdays and Thursdays, an extra show at 3 o'clock. And then there's always shows like this that could just happen. We're 2,500 people live right now here on whatever night it is, Friday night. We're reacting to a breaking story like Tyron Smith, and that's what we're doing here right now with a near 2-hour show. You guys are the best. We've got more coming. The Jets aren't done yet. They still got to solve wide receiver and get some offensive line depth, but that is happening. Tyron Smith is a Jet. Let's go. And how poetic. We mentioned this before, but I know people come in and out of the room. A year ago today, Aaron Rodgers said that he was continuing his NFL career and intending to play for the Jets. 1 calendar year later, March 15, 2024, the Jets secure Tyron Smith, the blindside protector for Aaron Rodgers, a future member of the Hall of Fame. We'll be back tomorrow morning with my father, a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, as we get the official passing of the torch. He will give me the Tyron Smith jersey virtually, and I will put it on my body. So thank you to my father for doing that in advance of tomorrow. I hope you guys don't miss it. Live at 7:30 in the morning will be spectacular. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. The 2,500 plus people here in the room. God bless. Let's roll. Like the video, hit subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. Take care. Tyron Smith is your left tackle 1.